Hey, everybody. How's it going? Happy Tuesday. I honestly don't even know what day it is, and I know I need to scoot over and readjust some settings because we're a little behind the day today. We had a very late night at our house, or should I say early morning, with a trip around 2 a.m. to the emergency vet because somebody's been really sick the last few days. So thank you for your patience with us going live a little bit late today. Poor sweet Libby is doing better. Are you doing better today? A little bit on the mend, but very under the weather this week and is mad at me. So now she will be leaving. But I got literally zero sleep last night. We went to the emergency vet at like 2 a.m, got home around 4:30. It's been a long night and a very crazy turn of events in the last few hours, but I wanted to make sure we still went live today because today is, drumroll, the 1-year anniversary of when we started streaming every single day. We used to be streaming only on Getter. Now we are live across platforms every day, so it is such a pleasure to be joining you on our 1-year anniversary of daily streaming on YouTube, on Facebook, on Rumble, on Getter, and of course on Locals. It is a very exciting reality that it's been over a year now, a year exactly, since we've been streaming daily. We'll do a really big celebration in the spring for when we started doing an annual live stream across platforms, really when the stream became what it is today a few months ago, but hang tight for that as we get closer to the spring. And I do just want to say from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much for every single person that has been a part of this journey, who's been tuning into the stream over the last several months, especially all of you who started with us over on Getter last fall and now are here on whatever platform you're still watching on, whether you're on Getter or any of our other platforms. I took a huge left turn in all of my content creation journey when I decided to start streaming full time a year ago and really had no idea what I was getting myself into. It was kind of like I had my day job. This was a huge experiment that we did every single night, and it really took off in all of the best ways, which is why I'm able to do this as my full-time job now. And this gets to be my day job, all because of your guys' support and your ongoing continuance to share all of my content, to be subscribing to all of these channels, and to be along for the ride with us on all of our exciting adventures together as one big happy community. All of that to be said, I'm so grateful for all of you, every single individual, especially those who tune in every single day. You mean the absolute world to me, and you've changed my life in all of the best ways possible, and I could not be more thankful for all of your guys' role that you are playing in my life, my fiance's life, and just as we continue this crazy journey God has put us on in the last few years. I was going to do like a big fun celebration thing today. Obviously got literally no sleep last night, so we're not going to be doing that today, but we do have a really important conversation to have today on the stream, and then I'm going to immediately take a nap because I have a really big church gathering thing tonight, which is pretty important, but we'll have some fun later on in the stream this week with some really exciting guests lined up, including one tomorrow, some really fun topics I want to cover, and today is obviously a very important conversation as well, so we want all of your guys' active participation in the chat. We're going to kick things off by saying hello to our chat, but first want to give a huge shout out to our first of 2 sponsors for the stream today, our amazing friends over at Ruff Greens. It's been a rough couple of days since her surgery for my sweet dog Libby, as you guys know, and so it seems perfectly appropriate for us to be sharing our love for this amazing sponsor and our amazing friends over at Ruff Greens. You guys have heard me talk about it before and how it's literally helping thousands of dogs feel better and live longer, including my dog, who absolutely loves it. What you really need to know about Ruff Greens is this. It was started by a naturopathic doctor named Dr. Dennis Black, who created Ruff Greens. He's also an airborne ranger, a Green Beret, and a Vietnam-era helicopter pilot. Super interesting guy. Could not recommend checking him out enough. But he also loves dogs so much that now he's totally committed to focusing on helping us all help as many dogs as we can, because because he knows that dogs need just as strong of nutrition as humans do. And as you've heard me say in the past, dog food and the dog food industry is dead food. But Ruff Greens has essential vitamins and minerals, omega oils, digestive enzymes, probiotics, and plenty of antioxidants that are super helpful for your dogs. Dr. Black and his dogs are offering for a very limited time only a free Jumpstart trial bag of their product, Ruff Greens, which kind of operates like a protein powder where you just take a little scoop of it, you dump it on your dog's food, and it adds so many essential fruits and vegetables and nutrients to their diet that they otherwise are not getting. It helps them get back their energy, improves their elimination, gets rid of itching and scratching, and so much more. You can get your free Jumpstart trial bag of Ruff Greens if you just cover the shipping at the link that I just dropped in our bio, tryruffgreens.com, or in the chat, excuse me. Tryruffgreens.com. That is TRYRUFF greens.com. We absolutely love supporting their human grade, all natural, made in the USA product and supporting businesses that share our values. And Ruff Greens is the perfect example of who we love to support. Let's kick things off today, since we're talking about Rumble throughout the stream today, with our friends over at Rumble in our chat. My Quillwin is watching. We've got Glock Fanboy and TZ Patriot back. Ray of Sunshine is our friend Lucinda from YouTube, who's now choosing to jump over and watch on Rumble. Lucinda, we love decisions like that. Thank you for joining us as usual. Your Daddy and Tynes are watching. We've got many, many others starting to pour in, so don't forget to use the live chat function throughout our stream today. Over on YouTube, Dutch Canadian, Alexandra, and Marnus are here to kick us off. We've got Daloon watching. Los Ravosa is here. Kobe's tuning in. Hey, Kobe, glad to see you back. G-Fact and Tito and Jordan are watching. Total Package is back. Tankman is here. Says good to catch it live. Hello, Tankman. Northern Wanderer and Altered Geek are joining us. T Protocolist, Casual Amber, Brenda, Brown Rice, OD, and more. Over on Getter, our original streaming gang, which we started a year ago. Nitty Witty is helping us kick things off in the chat. And on Locals, Emrock, Alex Padron, Mountain Lover, Becca, who we are absolutely praying for because she had to go to the emergency room for a big degree 2 burn. Is that what you were saying, Becca? I'm so sorry you're dealing with that. Are joining us, and many, many more. You guys, I love you so much. Thank you for your ongoing prayers for me, as well as for my sweet dog, who is just really struggling and had to go to the hospital last night. Hopefully we will all get a good full night of sleep for the first time this week. Tonight, fingers crossed, and let's jump right in. Today, we are talking about the future of freedom of speech and freedom of expression in the digital age, which continues to be under attack with every passing day with a greater sense of ferocity than at any other time I've ever witnessed in my lifetime. And we talk about this quite often through the lens of banning certain social media platforms because they don't fit the agenda of what those in power want us to be seeing, like TikTok, which we've talked about quite extensively. We see this a lot through certain algorithms or shadow banning or just overt deplatforming of certain individuals. But in the last couple of days, we've seen something that's kind of a first in the world of independent content creation, especially. And last week, we started to touch on a little bit of this, but it's starting to heat up more and more with every passing day amidst the Russell Brand allegations of sexual assault and what is happening with the platform of Rumble. Glock Fanboy has a great point in our Rumble chat. What we've really started to enter into in a whole new Wild West territory we've never seen before in the world of online censorship is trial by public opinion. If you are found guilty in the court of public opinion, if you are found guilty by the trial of who are in political positions of power or even in cultural positions of power to determine what content you are allowed to see, what thoughts you are allowed to have, and what creators you are allowed to listen to, you hold far more power than a court of law. And our new justice system, not just in America, but all around the Western civilization, really is the court of public opinion rather than a court of law. So if you haven't really been keeping up with the Russell Brand allegations, first of all, it's a massive story and you should be paying attention to it. But we did cover it at length in terms of like the baseline information last week on the stream. And if you want any of the big facts, please go back and rewatch that stream. We don't have enough time today, unfortunately, to go into all of it. But generally speaking, popular comedian, television star, independent content creator, he wears many different hats, Russell Brand, who on YouTube has over 6 million subscribers and on Rumble has about 1.5 million followers, same exact thing, follower versus subscriber, but just called different things, has been completely under attack in the world of digital content creation because several different women have anonymously come forward to UK-based media to accuse Russell Brand of inappropriate conduct, of sexual assault, of rape, etc. Not once has this individual been officially charged with any of these crimes. He has not been arrested, to my knowledge, as of this point, while we are streaming today live at 4:17 p.m. Eastern Time on September 26th. But he has been alleged to have committed these crimes, and all of a sudden, the guilt of public opinion, the guilt until proven innocence concept has reigned so supreme that he has been completely unilaterally demonetized from YouTube, which, if you know anything about independent content creation, is probably a massive proportion of his livelihood with 6 million plus subscribers on the platform. How he's able to create content every day, employ people to help him get his content out there, etc., because he was harming people allegedly off of the platform, and that goes against YouTube's community guidelines, even though he hasn't even been arrested for any crime. Several different brands are now pulling out of Rumble in terms of advertising or their presence on the platform because of, again, allegations, not because of any charges of a crime, not because of any arrest for a crime, certainly not because of any conviction for a crime, but because of allegations. And now the United Kingdom is actually threatening to make Rumble illegal as a platform in the country. I know we have a lot of people watching from across the pond, but theoretically, under their online safety laws in the United Kingdom, Rumble could become banned in the country. And all of this is starting because one human being has been accused of a crime several different times, but accused of crimes that he's never been charged with, he's never been arrested for, and he's certainly never been convicted of. I will say again, I said it last week and I will say it again, I don't personally know Russell. Obviously, we have a lot of connections in the world of right of center and independent content creation in politics and in culture. I've never met Russell directly. I have absolutely no idea if he is innocent or guilty of these crimes. And I am a big proponent, as a big legal nerd, of true due process, meaning Russell is both innocent until proven guilty of his alleged crimes that we don't even know if he's committed. And these women who have come forward with these allegations absolutely deserve the fullest extent of investigation possible, because far too many women fail to come forward because they are afraid, because rapists and pedophiles and sexual assault criminals are rarely prosecuted to the fullest extent possible for these crimes. Due process means both sides get an opportunity to figure out what the heck went on. And I'm a big proponent of that. We covered that last week on the stream. But I am extremely concerned as a free-thinking individual, as certainly an independent content creator who is not bought and paid for by a multi-million-dollar media company, who is sitting here streaming and creating content out of the spare bedroom of my apartment, like a lot of other independent content creators here on Rumble or on Locals, Rumble's sister organization, where we have our own community, and any other platform that gives individual people like me the opportunity to share our values, the opportunity to share our thoughts and create a sense of community where the world is connected. And that happens to be here rather than anywhere else in 2023 around the world. It is extremely concerning to me that we don't know if this is happening in this case. I will say it just to be totally clear, we don't know if Russell Brand is innocent or guilty, but we have seen a pattern, at least in the United States and now really across Western civilization in the past few years, that individuals who speak out against the matrix, if you will, individuals who go against the grain culturally, they share a countercultural message of self-reliance, of taking ownership and responsibility of your health, of embracing free thinking opportunities to not just go along with the crowd and be a sheep, but to seek out other voices, to seek out other opinions, and have real philosophical, thought-provoking conversations. We've seen such a common thread here in the last few years of those men in particular being accused of crimes, typically of a sexual nature, and then proven completely innocent because those stories completely fell apart in the hashtag Me Too era, simply because we want to see those people silenced, we want to see those people censored, and we want to see those people shut down in a world that is demanding ideological conformity and demanding lockstep adherence to the totalitarian voices in positions of power in Western civilization, instead of individual autonomy, instead of individual liberty, and instead of the opportunity for you to freely think for yourself. We saw it with a Supreme Court nominee in the United States several years ago. We obviously see it with many presidential candidates, and now we're starting to see it in the realm of content creation and independent voices as well. Russell Brand being a really prime example of where these allegations typically can go. And again, we don't know if he's innocent or guilty, obviously, and I fully support any investigation into any sexual assault allegation. That needs to be said over and over and over and over and over again, it seems, because otherwise people just assume you're jumping on a bandwagon one way or another. But there is a pattern here, and you are completely blind and or stupid and or willfully ignorant if you cannot see this pattern continue to repeat itself of allegations being weaponized to silence certain individuals that have a substantial impact and influence in society, encouraging people to break free of the cultural zeitgeist that the powerful, authoritarian, totalitarian individuals running our society in both the public and private sector want you to continue being sucked into. Last week, we saw this really start to take shape with Russell Brand being unilaterally demonetized from YouTube, which, as I've said, is a huge likely proportion of his livelihood and his ability to get his message out there with over 6 million subscribers, aka followers, on YouTube, talking about things like health and wellness, talking about things like mental health, certainly talking about politics and the biggest cultural issues of our time, but really encouraging people to have individual autonomy over their own lives and to think freely, to break free of the matrix. That alone was a massive breaking story in the realm of digital free speech and free speech in the digital age, because if a platform as big as YouTube, which arguably, and we are live on right now, is the public forum of our time, cannot protect freedom of expression and freedom of speech, even for people with massive, significant cultural influence, with millions upon millions of subscribers, if they can unilaterally silence you, deplatform you, and get you to shut up because they don't like something that you were accused of, that is an extremely dangerous, slippery slope for any independently thinking individual. And last week, when we uncovered the Russell Brand allegations and how big the YouTube story really was in demonetizing him, I reminded people that the very concept of free speech demands that people that you don't like, even people who theoretically are convicted of crimes, which doesn't even apply to Russell in this situation, at least not yet, but people who are bad people still have the opportunity to share their values. And in no way am I calling Russell Brand a bad person. I think he is doing all of the right things when it comes to encouraging all of the right mentalities on social media. And he's a really inspiring, creative individual who's breaking free of the mainstream concept of media. But even bad people, even criminals, even racists, even sexists, all people, in my perspective and from my point of view, have the opportunity to share their ideas, good or bad, to share their values, good or bad. Because truly, the only way to live in a free society is to have the opportunity to interact with people and to interact with ideas and values that are fundamentally against every single thing that you believe in, because that person has the freedom to share their values as well, and to make up your mind for yourself. You do not live in a free society, period, full stop, end of story, if you cannot interact with ideas and people and values that are different from your own and make up your mind for yourself. You cannot even remotely begin to say that you seek objective reality, that you seek objective truth, if you cannot figure out what is true and what is a lie. You do not live in a free society if that is the case. So even if we were talking about a convicted criminal, even if we were talking about a racist, even if we were talking about some white nationalist or a sexist or a really bad person, from my point of view, in a free society, in an opportunity that allows you to make up your own mind, those people still have an opportunity to share their ideas. Because history has proven time and time again, every single opportunity possible over the last several thousand years, that the only way to beat bad ideas, the only way to defeat true evil is with good ideas and goodness and morality and truth. The only way to defeat lies is by dragging the lie out of the darkness into the light and defeating it with the truth in an open forum where everyone has the opportunity to see it. If you take the opposite approach and you decide to censor people who are sharing lies, if you decide to censor people who have really bad ideas, if you decide to silence people who have different values than you, those values, those lies, those really bad ideas continue to grow and fester and gain following and gain traction in the darkness and amass a following that becomes very, very difficult to defeat later on down the line. I quite often hear on short form videos and on streams that I do when we talk about the transitioning of children or kids going through surgical transition, when we talk about what's happening with a lot of these supposed banned books in elementary schools, which are just straight up graphic pornography, by the way. Why would we even give this the time of day? Why are we giving this a platform? If we just don't talk about it, it will go away. I'm sorry. I don't know if any of you have been paying attention in the last several decades, but that entire approach, that entire mentality of we're just going to ignore it and it's going to go away is exactly how people are waking up today after decades of ignorance and asking, how the hell did we get here? How the hell did we get here? How the hell did we wake up in 2023 and nothing makes sense and there is no objective truth and everything has become upside down? It's because good people sat by and watched evil happen and they decided not to bring it out into the light. They decided not to confront lies with truth in the moment. And they said, if we don't give it a platform, it'll just go away. Newsflash, it doesn't go away. It grows and it festers and it continues to amass more legitimacy and more popularity the more you continue to censor it. So again, even if we were talking about a really bad person, in my point of view, you cannot even remotely pretend to live in a free society if bad ideas and bad people don't have the same opportunity to share their values as good ideas and good people. Bringing all information out into the light is the only way that you are truly able to say that you live in a free society and have freedom of jurisdiction over your own mind. So YouTube alone deplatforming and censoring, I guess they haven't deplatformed him quite yet, but censoring through the monetization removal of Russell Brand's channel is extremely concerning and should be a massive red flag to every single human being everywhere. This is not a UK-based issue in isolation. This is not an American-based issue in isolation. This is about free society and Western civilization as we know it. But in the last few days, there's been a massive development since the demonetization of Russell Brand's channel with multiple different companies who have been advertising on Rumble deciding to pull out of the platform entirely, citing that they cannot operate on these platforms that are unsafe for certain individuals. Really, really crazy stuff, but I know you guys need to hear the update because the more we continue to talk about this, the more we can realize why freedom of expression and freedom of speech in the digital age is more important now than ever. The New York Post reported on this yesterday that Burger King is facing massive boycott calls after they have yanked their advertising from Rumble over the Russell Brand allegations. allegations. Massive opportunities for boycotting a huge business here. I've seen all over Instagram, all over Twitter, all over TikTok. Burger King is facing calls for a boycott after the fast food giant. First of all, I don't know that I would even call Burger King a fast food giant. I can't remember the last time I've had Burger King. It is truly that disgusting, like truly awful. So don't eat it. First of all, it's not even real food. Your body cannot digest Burger King. It's just not worth it. Don't eat it. But they are also facing calls for a boycott besides their horrible product after the fast food giant yanked its ads from video platform Rumble shortly after Russell Brand, who broadcasts a show weekly on the site, was accused of raping and sexually assaulting 4 women, including a 16-year-old girl. Though Burger King has not publicly stated why it recently removed its adverts from the popular site, just as other brands like ASOS, which is a very popular clothing brand in the UK especially, but they also are here in America, and HelloFresh, which is a massive company of home delivery meal services, also recently did. Social media users have questioned the timing of the move, which came out just 1 week after Russell Brand came under fire. The Whopper House has since been bashed for pulling its ads from the self-proclaimed free speech platform before Brand has actually been convicted of any crime. Again, he hasn't been convicted of a crime. He is innocent until proven guilty. Burger King has pulled its ad from Rumble because the free speech platform refuses to play judge, jury, and executioner of Russell Brand after the UK governor demanded the platform demonetize him, said Charlie Kirk on Twitter. Reminder, Brand has not been convicted of a single crime. Boycott at Burger King. They hate free speech and due process, and based their food is poison anyway. Stop eating it. So HelloFresh, ASOS, and Burger King have become the first round of companies to fully pull all of their advertisements from Rumble as a platform because they refuse to play judge, jury, and executioner in all of these Russell Brand allegations, which is a really insane, shocking reality, right? Especially after we covered last week that the UK Parliament was asking Rumble to take Russell Brand off of the platform before he's ever even been arrested or charged or convicted of a crime. And now this is starting to spill over outside of Rumble into other areas of content and public life for Russell Brand as well. He had a BBC show thrown away, tossed in the garbage bin, the rubbish bin. I think it's so cute how you guys say that. Years later, after all of these predator claims, and obviously the advertisers that we just talked about have pulled their advertising revenue from Rumble. He had a show on British TV that was trashed before it ever made it to air 5 years ago, following allegations by a female comedian, according to the Sun newspaper. A week after the Times newspaper and Channel 4 program collaborated to publish a list of claims about the comedian turned influencer, all of which we covered last week. The Sun reports that plans for Russell Brand TV to be broadcasted by the BBC were put on ice after it transpired that the female comedian Catherine Ryan had publicly called Brand on his behavior during a 2017 recording of Roast Battle on Comedy Central. The segment of that show was never previously aired, and they were theoretically going to air it, but now they are not going to, simply because of an allegation. This comes after a week in which the BBC, the British Broadcasting Company, has removed from its streaming platforms any content featuring Russell Brand, and has announced a review into his behavior while he was employed by the BBC. His stand-up comedy tour, his live stand-up comedy tour, has been postponed after he played last week to a 2,000-strong crowd in London on the night that the allegations were first aired and received a standing ovation from his fans. More women, other than the original 4, have now come forward with claims of abusive behavior by the comedian around the time of the peak of his fame between 2008 and 2013, quite some time ago. As we just covered, YouTube has suspended his ability to make money from videos posted by Brand, while The Guardian, several advertisers have pulled their ads from Rumble. Brand posted a video online on Friday urging people to watch his videos here on Rumble, where we're live right now, as well as some other platforms, continuing to deny all allegations against him and saying it has been an extraordinary and distressing week. So let me just understand this very quickly and try to unpack this with all of you. If you are accused of a crime, and importantly, you can't just be accused of a crime, and you happen to be freely thinking outside of the realm of extreme leftism that is reigning supreme in government and politics in the United Kingdom, in the United States, in the European Union, and really throughout the Western world. If you use your platform to try to promote people thinking for themselves and supporting independent content instead of just turning on public broadcasting or mainstream corporate media that has a history of telling you a narrative instead of the truth. If you encourage people to have individual autonomy over their own lives, instead of being a sheep and going through with this new world order push that we are constantly seeing escalate day by day by day, then immediately you are just going to be removed from society. You're not allowed to participate in literally anything. And I'm sure this is about to get a lot worse, by the way, which we'll talk about in just a second. But you will be silenced on the internet. Your platform will be taken away from you. Your livelihood will be taken away from you. Anything you've ever done in the past, even if you are proved to be innocent of any criminal allegations against you, is just scrubbed from public knowledge or existence instantaneously. And it doesn't matter if you are ever convicted of this crime, because the court of public opinion is far stronger than a court of law. Am I understanding this correctly? And all of the ands, by the way, really matter there too, because if you are just accused of a crime, especially crimes of a sexual nature, but you happen to buy into all of the insane leftism that is running our society today, you happen to believe in totalitarian socialism, and you want to see that come to fruition in America, in the UK, or around the world, it doesn't matter if you're accused of any sexual impropriety. It doesn't matter if you're accused of any sexual assault or rape or crimes against children even. You will never be prosecuted for any of those things, and the court of public opinion is always going to be on your side. Am I understanding this correctly? I mean, genuinely, because I've seen countless allegations against powerful people on the left. I've seen countless allegations against powerful people still in Hollywood. I've seen countless allegations against powerful people in politics and culture and media that never seem to come to fruition, and those people are still able to keep their societal positions of influence. But as long as you buy into the mainstream cultural zeitgeist, you're good. You're going to be fine. Am I understanding this correctly? I have absolutely no realm of concept or idea whether or not these allegations against Russell Brand are proven to be real or proven to be false. That's what a trial is for. That is what a court of law and the supposed judicial system is supposed to be for. And that's originally what we would consider to be due process in society. That's why we have due process, so that A, the accusers can have their accusations fully investigated, and B, the accused has an opportunity to defend themselves. Anybody ever read To Kill a Mockingbird, for example? That's why trials really matter, just putting that out there. But whether or not these allegations are proven to be real or not, they are just that. As of today, at 4:38 p.m. Eastern Time on Thursday, September 26th, allegations. They are not charges. They are not convictions, certainly. And they are not proof that someone is innocent or guilty. And the more we continue to see this escalate and escalate and escalate with every passing day, the more I am exceptionally concerned that people like me, that people like you who have the opportunity to speak out won't have the opportunity to do so moving forward. Because if you are accused of something, if you happen to go against the mainstream narrative while you are accused of something, you are going to be essentially deleted, excommunicated, scrubbed from modern society as a whole. And the more our society happens to occur through a screen, which almost everything in our lives do, our jobs, our school, our relationships, our intimacy, our connection to other people, our legacy, all happens to be online. You're scrubbed from the internet because you happened to go against the narrative before you were ever accused of a crime. And even if you were accused of a crime, determines how history is written moving forward. And believe it or not, they are not stopping at Russell Brand in isolation. As I mentioned at the beginning of the stream, after the UK Parliament sent an official letter to Rumble, the company, which we covered last week on our stream about Russell Brand, demanding essentially that they deplatform him entirely from Rumble as a private company because he was alleged of a crime. And they didn't do that. Rumble continued to stand for his right to share whatever he wanted on a free speech platform, because that's the very point of a free speech platform. Rumble is now theoretically under attack to be banned, to be made illegal for all citizens in the United Kingdom. Anybody watching from across the pond, especially on Rumble, you might not have the opportunity to very, very soon because of new online safety laws. Absolutely insane. This is from Expose News, and they published this yesterday, but they explain how the online safety laws that are currently in effect in the UK could be used to weaponize against Rumble the opportunity for free content creators and independent content creators to share their content, because it's just not safe for you to be consuming what they have to say. They say Rumble, the free speech video hosting website, could be banned in the UK under new online safety laws. As reported here a couple of days ago, the Online Safety Bill sounds a lot like our Restrict Act in the United States of America, which is also commonly referred to as the Ban TikTok bill, that never even remotely mentions TikTok, by the way, so something you should be totally aware of. The Online Safety Bill in the UK was approved by the House of Lords on the 19th of September, but still needs official approval from the King before it can become law. This has not deterred the government from trying to coax platforms such as YouTube to ban Russell Brand due to allegations of historical abuse. Again, as we reported last week, while YouTube dutifully obeyed, Rumble stayed true to their mission and responded, although it may be politically and socially easier to join the cancel culture mob, doing so would be a violation of our company's values and mission. And finished with, we emphatically reject the UK Parliament's demands. Unfortunately, now experts have said that Rumble, which hosts Russell Brand, could be blocked in the UK entirely, the whole platform, because they refused to deplatform one individual because of the Online Safety Bill. According to The Times, Rumble, a video sharing platform in North America, has become home to Brand and other figures with extreme views, and they cite some other particularly controversial individuals. It also hosts extreme videos on race and anti-Semitism that mainstream platforms such as YouTube have made more of an effort to take down. I would love to see an actual link to those things or an actual allegation of those things. I love that people are just throwing those words out there so casually, so we don't care what the consequences are, because that's just what we do now. Rumble has been thrust into the spotlight after Brand used it to declare his innocence of sexual assault claims under the Online Safety Bill, which is due to become law next month. If you're in the UK, please, please, please speak out about this. Make it known that you are not okay with the government regulating what you do get to see or do not get to see online. Rumble will be regulated by Ofcom, am I saying that correctly? Because it is accessible in the UK. Brand has recognized the impact the new law could have. In a statement on Friday, he said the British government has asked big tech platforms to censor our online content. This bill is a piece of UK legislation that grants sweeping surveillance and censorship powers. Again, sounds a lot like the Restrict, all in caps, it's an acronym, act currently being debated in the United States legislature in both the House and the Senate. Under the new law, Rumble will have to prevent children from seeing pornography. That I would love to see. Don't know why we have to restrict people freely speaking about political stuff or cultural stuff in order to do that. And material that promotes self-harm, suicide, or eating disorders. Violent content and material harmful to health, such as vaccine information, will also have to be kept from children. Ofcom will also draw up new guidelines on violence against women and girls that have to be adhered to. Would love to be informed on exactly what constitutes violence against women, because I'm pretty sure, based on just where we're at culturally, if you say that men cannot become women and women cannot become men, they probably would consider that to be violence against women and girls, because speech is violence, but also silence is violence. Basically, everything is violence is what you need to know moving forward, which is just a really ridiculous, crazy world that we are living in. Rumble will also have to take down material that is illegal, such as videos that incite violence or race hate. Again, if they can describe what is actually inciting violence, that would be very, very helpful, because everything is theoretically inciting violence today in our very messed up, upside down 2023 world that we are living in. There are a bunch of internet experts and legal experts saying that essentially if this bill becomes a law in the United Kingdom, that Ofcom will have the ability to completely disrupt or block Rumble, essentially make it illegal to access in the United Kingdom if the company does not comply with completely deplatforming individuals like Russell Brand. Lucinda just said in our Rumble chat, let me scroll back up because it was really good what you just said. The Online Safety Bill says that it's intended to protect young people, when in reality, it's just trying to censor freedom of speech on the internet, which again, exactly mirrors what we in the United States are facing with this potential Restrict Act becoming law. They say that they're trying to ban TikTok and they're trying to help keep your private information and your personal data secure from evil people like the Chinese Communist Party, even though there is literally no actual evidence that the CCP has ever accessed your data. And in reality, if you read that legislation, they're not trying to ban TikTok. There's literally no mention of TikTok whatsoever in the legislation. Instead, they are trying to have complete unilateral jurisdiction from unelected bureaucrats over what people are allowed to freely speak online and who poses a threat to the democracy of the United States of America, who might be a foreign enemy, even if that person is a United States citizen. Really, really crazy, scary stuff. And Total Package on YouTube just reminded us a powerful reminder as well. Ultimately, if laws like this become laws, if bills like this become laws and become part of the legal code and legal system in the country that you are living in, ultimately, their definitions, the people who are in charge of distributing all of these restrictions, their definitions of what constitutes incitement of violence, their definition of what constitutes racism, their definition of what constitutes anti-woman or dangerous to girls behavior is just going to continue to change based on the situation. And the easiest way for them to do that is just to insinuate that any piece of content on these platforms are dangerous, are violent, or are based in misinformation. And that, the misinformation label, is the next chapter in which the mainstream media is insinuating new allegations against Rumble in the midst of all of the Russell Brand stuff. Yesterday, for example, AP News, the Associated Press, published this lovely piece of journalistic garbage, in my opinion, that the RNC's live streaming partner for GOP debates, which happens to be Rumble, during the first Republican debate, which happened a few weeks ago in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, the top three of the top four live streams on any site on the internet, on any live streaming platform on the internet, were all from Rumble and were all independent content creators talking about what was going on in the actual Republican debate. So really, really freaking cool stuff that we are seeing a media revolution right before our very eyes. And tomorrow in Los Angeles, California, just so happens to be the next Republican presidential debate, the second presidential debate of the 2024 cycle at all in the United States, which obviously Rumble will be live streaming about with many different content creators. But they're saying now in the mainstream media, one day before the next round of important live streams for presidential debates, that the RNC's live streaming partner, Rumble, for the GOP debate is a haven for disinformation and extremism. If they can't immediately get you on violence, if they can't immediately get you on inciting violence or racism or any of the other allegations that they love to throw against the wall, they will specifically, very nebulously, ironically, it's both specific and nebulous and confusing, target you for, one, disinformation, because anything could theoretically be disinformation with all of the fact checkers and fact checking organizations that specifically love to come after people like me, people like Russell Brand, people like Dave Rubin, people like Glenn Greenwald, people that are very prominent on some of these free speech platforms. And if they can't get you on disinformation, they'll just call you an extremist. And what will they call you an extremist for? I don't know, suggesting that maybe big pharma isn't the best solution for taking control of your health, for suggesting that maybe you shouldn't eat lab-grown meat because scientists are concerned that maybe, allegedly, it might contain carcinogens and prevent your body from suppressing tumor growth later on in your life. What else will they call you an extremist for? Suggesting that men cannot be women and women cannot be men, that kids should have an age of consent, all of the crazy, insane, upside down things that we are dealing with every day. If you believe in objective truth and you share objective truth, or you even suggest that there is an objective truth in our insanely subjective world, they will simply immediately label you as an extremist and suggest that you share disinformation. Obviously, we've seen this on every major big tech platform in the last few years in particular, related to certain issues over others. And I have certainly been targeted from some of these misinformation strikes on TikTok, on Twitter, on Instagram, on YouTube, etc. Luckily, whenever we've been appealing all of these decisions, they are always granted. Our appeals are always granted because we're very careful about these things. But soon, it's not even going to be disinformation. They're just going to say you're an extremist if you don't believe in you will own nothing and you will be happy, if you don't want to eat bugs and you want to eat meat, which, call me crazy, sounds like a pretty reasonable thing to do. And now they're going to start labeling entire platforms, not just individual creators, havens of disinformation and extremism in order to silence individual free thought. Look at how AP News wrote about this just yesterday, the language that they are using. It's really scary stuff. The second Republican presidential debate will be broadcast Wednesday on Fox Business Network and Univision, but the exclusive online streaming will take place on Rumble, an alternative video sharing platform that has been criticized for allowing and at times promoting, and here are the words that they very intentionally decided to use: far-right extremism. Gee, I didn't realize telling people that they should eat real food or that women have different chromosomes than men was far-right extremism, bigotry, election disinformation, and conspiracy theories. Lovely. By bringing viewers to Rumble to watch the GOP debate, as it did with the first one last month, the Republican National Committee is driving potential voters to a site crawling with content that flouts the rules of more mainstream ones, such as Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. Asked about the criticism against the platform, the RNC said in an emailed statement that hate, bigotry, and violence is unfortunately prevalent on every social media platform, and that the RNC condemns it entirely, but the RNC does not manage content or pages outside of our own. Quite an interesting response to a lot of these allegations. So, look, what's the bottom line and what's the key takeaway from all of these things? Number one, if you are accused of something, and the and is important, you happen to live your life against the grain of modern culture and modern society and encourage other people to do the same, you are essentially going to be booted, excommunicated, deplatformed from society at large. I have absolutely no doubt in my mind this will escalate for Russell Brand as a test case, and then for other individuals far beyond being demonetized or even deplatformed from certain video sharing platforms or social media platforms. I think this is going to escalate far beyond removing his content from BBC, well before there's ever even been an arrest, by the way. I think this could escalate to certain banks refusing to house your bank account anymore and unilaterally taking those things away. We've already seen other examples and instances where platforms like Airbnb or VRBO say you can no longer use our services. Uber and Lyft might say you can no longer use our services. PayPal, Venmo, other transactional companies may say you're no longer allowed to use our services because you've been alleged of these really serious crimes. You've been accused of these really serious crimes. Make no mistake about it. This instance is a test case to see how far they can get away with doing this for any non-mainstream individual using their platform to encourage other freedom of thought and other free thinking for ordinary individuals all over the world. Ultimately, this is far escalating beyond just Russell Brand into the realm of other content creators. And I've seen a lot of people asking in our Rumble chat, especially if I'm concerned about these things for me. Absolutely. I mean, I already have been targeted on some other platforms, and this is certainly a huge concern in my life and my livelihood, because this is my day job being an independent content creator. I don't make a lot of money like people like Russell Brand do on YouTube because I don't have that many subscribers yet. I would love to get to that position, but I'm just not there yet. So certainly it's something that I'm very concerned about and is a crazy world that we are living in. But ultimately, my job is just to continue getting up and telling people the truth every single day. And I'm not going to lose my resolve to do that just because I'm afraid of some of these things. But it's a rightful concern for many people like myself, whose entire livelihood is based on our ability to freely share our values, to question things, and to share the truth in today's modern public forum, in today's public square, which happens to be on social media and on platforms like YouTube and Rumble and everywhere else that we are live right now. And it looks like if they can't get certain individuals to sit down and shut up and stop sharing ideas that go against the mainstream, the next step and the next most logical escalation of this is going to be deplatforming the platform entirely, making it illegal for you to even access any free speech platform, or making it impossible for you to consume any content because they happen to house disinformation or even misinformation or out of context information, or my favorite word of all, extremism, which is a completely subjective term that completely varies based on who you are asking with every given day. We are living far more in approaching 1984 than approaching 2024. And the fact that more people aren't willing to speak out against this because they are worried of the backlash, they're worried about being silenced or deplatformed themselves, or they're completely unaware of what's going on, is a very frightening reality. You have to be willing to commit thought crime by seeking out opinions and values that are different from yourself if you want to live in a free society. You have to be willing to say objective truth in a world that is rejecting the very concept of objective truth if you want to live in a free society. You have to be willing to fight for the right to freedom of expression and the right to freedom of speech for people who you hate, people who you don't like, people who you fundamentally disagree with on every single possible example out there if you want to live in a free society. And with every passing day in the stories that we are covering, everything from the food that we're eating to our healthcare system, if you even want to call it that, to the media that we consume and our entertainment industry and education in the United States and around the Western world, but especially in the realm of independent content creation, in individuals being able to share anything on our current public square, our current public forum, which happens to be the internet, the more convinced I am that we no longer live in a free society. We like to pretend that we do. We like to say, are we tired of winning yet? We love winning. We're not winning. We're not. And maybe part of that has to do with our own delusion to be totally unaware of what's happening right before our very eyes. Maybe part of that is our pride in not wanting to admit that we're not in control of society anymore. Maybe a lot of that is just our ignorance, that we don't want to know how bad things have gotten because we don't want to feel uncomfortable by all of these things. But as we get closer and closer and closer to 2024, which looks a lot more like 1984, it is high time we admit that we do not live in a free society today. We are not the greatest society the world has ever known today. We were at one point, and we should be proud of that. But if we want to bring any of that into the future for the next generation, we have got to grow a pair and start fighting the fight in the arena. We have got to go on offense, and we have to be willing to speak out about these things publicly, to draw attention to them, and to risk going against the grain, to risk being deplatformed ourselves, to risk committing thought crime, if you will, if we want to bring freedom forward into the next generation. I talk a lot about this in my book, so ironically, it's very good timing that all of this is happening, but I think this is really just the beginning if we are unwilling to be fighting about this on offense every single day, rolling up our sleeves and taking on an active role of participation ourselves. Because ultimately, winning and fighting in this realm of a culture war has far more to do with changing culture, with saving liberty, with letting people think freely for themselves than it does winning an election, deciding who the next president is, or who maintains a majority in the House of Commons, or who's the prime minister, or who is the majority party in our United States Congress, in the House or the Senate. This is about humanity. This is about liberty. This is about freedom. And if we are unwilling to admit that today, the Russell Brand case is only a test case for every single one of us moving forward. Allegations are not the same as convictions. And freedom of expression matters just as much in the digital world as it does on a street corner or outside on a public sidewalk. Fight for it, or it's going to be gone before you can possibly imagine. As we are ending the stream today, speaking of public squares, I want to give another huge shout out to our other sponsor of today's stream, our amazing friends over at Public Square, which is a network of 65,000 plus small businesses, all of which are pro-life, pro-family, and pro-freedom. It has never been more important for us to support businesses like Rumble and like the 65,000 plus small businesses all present on Public Square in order to vote with our dollar and to be conscious consumers and help uplift companies that are doing all of the right things in promoting freedom, individuality, and family. You can check out all of the businesses on Public Square at publicsq.com or by downloading their app on the App Store or Google Play, Public SQ. And you can use the link that I just dropped in our live chat to add your small business if you happen to be a small business owner and help grow your business. As we are ending the stream today, I want you guys to do me a huge favor. And if you haven't already smashed the like button on this stream, please do so. That could look like a little thumbs up or a heart button. Ring the notification bell so that you always know when we go live or upload a new video. And most importantly, please consider smashing that follow or subscribe button wherever you are watching. YouTube, Facebook, Rumble, Getter, and of course our locals community. You guys are already following along. It's a little bit different over there. But as somebody who does this totally independently, it means the absolute world when you guys do hit follow or subscribe to help make all of this possible and continue to grow. You guys are the absolute best. If you joined at the beginning of the stream, you know that I got literally zero sleep last night. So we're going to end the stream there today. No post-game show today, but we are back for a post-game show and everything else tomorrow on Locals, tomorrow at 3 p.m. Eastern. I love you guys so very much. Thank you for all of your support of my content and happy stream-iversary. We will see you tomorrow and have a great rest of your night.